We're back in our familiar site for Inside No Obstacles, and we're going to create a new team site. Actually, we're going to create two. Here we are at the top of our site collection. This is our team site, and we have a couple of other sites as well. We have a sports site that we've seen earlier. Looks like this. And then we also have another site called Sandbox that's a test site. We don't display that site here on the top navigation, but we can see it if we go to Site Contents. And that's a fine thing to do because this is exactly the same place that we'll create all of the other subsites that we're going to create right here. So our Human Resources Department is all ready to create a new site. They are incredibly excited. And what they want to do is create a site that will allow them to be able to put documents that users ask for here on a site where they can go get them themselves. So rather than have a phone call every few minutes that says, could you tell me where I'll get this payroll form? Could you give me information about this benefit form and so on? They'll be able to focus on posting the correct versions of those forms on the site and allow employees to get them themselves. This is called employee self-service, often an ESS site. And we're going to create it as part of our main site right here because this site is where many users will go to get other information. So if we have a link right here that says ESS or self-service or help yourself, there are many different names that this will have in different organizations, then that's a benefit. The human resources folks are actually ready to work on their own site too, so we could set that up because they'll need to have a place to collaborate on documents to make sure that they're putting all of their efforts into creating exactly the right version, and then that version will go over to our employee self-serve site. Finally, we also have a request from the folks who are in a parallel department to sport, and these are the people who are in the home department, and they would like to have their own site as well so that they can begin creating some information like the folks on our sport team are. So we have a lot of work to do. Let's go ahead and create one of these sites, and I'll create the other ones offline. First, let's create a new subsite, and we're asked to give it a title. Because we are also asked to give it a URL, I can include spaces here and shorten up the URL down here. And we're going to call this Employee Self-Service, or let's call it Help Yourself. So the description is a self-service site for employees. This is where you'll find the latest information and forms from human resources. I could say more here if I wanted to. I'm actually wanting to say less because my guess is once this site goes up, there are some other groups that also have forms that they want employees to fill out. For example, to be able to order a new cell phone or a replacement phone, to be able to sign up for an event that the organization is sending people to. This would allow us to have an easier way to do many of the things we do where we say to employees, email this person or drop this request in this box. So we're going to leave this pretty broad because I think HR won't be the only players here. And I could call this ESS. That's a nice short name. If everyone who's working in site management knows that Employee Self-Service or ESS is the name of the Help Yourself site, that will work fine. So this will appear in the URL. This will appear on my top navigation link right up in here. I need to select a language, and please know that anytime you make these choices, they're really choices that stick. So if you decide, I'll change the language for this site, then you can't change it back, and you have to do some things with some of the other settings. For example, you need to make sure that you're going and setting your regionalization properly and so on. Let's just leave whatever the language is. If you want to experiment, go ahead and set up a test site to check some of these things out in. And this is going to be a team site. That's what's being requested. Right now, when I create the site, I'm going to use the same permissions as the parent site. Do I want to display this on the quick launch of the parent site? So this is asking, do I want this to appear on the quick launch on the left-hand side of the parent site? No. Do I want to display this site on the top link bar of the parent site? Yes. Do I want to use the top link bar from the parent site? I'm also going to say yes here. So I'm inheriting the navigation from the parent site. What that means is all throughout my entire set of sites, my entire site collection, if I inherit navigation, then what happens is I can use the quick launch on the left where I'm having specific information about this site on the left-hand side, and I can reserve the top link bar to always help our users navigate from site to site. This works pretty nicely. I'm going to go ahead and create this site. And here we are, the Help Yourself site. Home, Sport, Help Yourself. On the left, I have the ability to look at the quick launch that's only for Help Yourself. If I go back to Home, I will have exactly the same navigation again. And when I look at the quick launch here, the quick launch is for my home site, not for Sport, not for Help Yourself. That works great. Now I need to set up 2 more sites. I need to set up the one for HR and the one for Home. I'm going to go ahead and do that offline. This is all the harder it is for us to be able to create a new team site. It happens very, very quickly here in SharePoint Online.